Right, we are live. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Trying to find it. There it is. Mute. Muted. Hi, Kelly. Welcome, welcome. All right, I'm going to share it out. If you could share it out too as well. It says there's 490 of my friends online, so. Hi, Jessica. How are you? Glad you made it. Could you please share out? Let's get as many people in here as we can and talk about triggers and homebrew and why you shouldn't mix the two. That's a long title, Triggers and Homebrew. It was just called Triggers, but then, I realized people don't want to, well, as much as people have asked me to bring it back, let's talk about it, and I always talk about trauma. But, is that my Kaz? Yes. Hey, Kaz. But people don't really like to show up and talk about the things that they're running from, the things that they fear. Not everybody likes to talk about trauma, and that's okay. So I said, well, let's make it fun, because I make everything fun. I don't know how, but I do, just because I have a good time. So I said, oh, let's get drunk. let's put it triggers and homebrew. Oh, we all stand in our own way. Whether we can admit it or not is another story. But we are our biggest blocks. Yep. And I'm telling you, not all of it is easy to find. All right, let's start with the groups. Let's see. I don't know if I've done any groups yet, but I'm going to do them again anyway. My computer's running a little slower than its normal, really slow. Hey, Tina. How are you? Welcome. I'm glad you made it. So I need to dive right in, though, because I'm limited by an hour. So, hey, Gina. Okay, thank you, Kez. Oh. So what are triggers? Did anybody want to start with what are triggers? What exactly is a trigger? Hi, Kim. A trigger can be anything. It's a memory, a word, a smell, a picture, a person's actions, our own actions, a pet. It can be anything that invokes an emotion in you, usually an overwhelming emotion. And it is connected to some sort of limited belief, unrealistic expectation, or trauma. Yeah. I mean, it is bigger than that, but that's the bottom, line, kind of. Let's see here. Hi, Amanda. Hello, Moto, right? My phones. They've been bad today, too. And I have just totally quit erasing what it said and just keep talking and put the right thing, because it's been funny today. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Amber. Just sharing out to my 18,000 groups. Hang on. I'm pretty quick at it. Triggers are moments, actions, words, yep, limitations, expectations. Well, not all expectations, but unrealistic ones. And, because boundaries, we have some expectation that isn't unhealthy. You know what I mean? Hi, Shawnette. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Labels that allow an emotional state to rise in the occasion for some. In the occasion. For some, they are painful and like salt on an open wound. Yeah, that's true. So when you set a boundary, well, no, see, that's a whole nother topic. We're going to stay on topic. Okay? Yep. I'm going to write that down, though, because that's a whole nother topic. And I have questions. Where did my mouse go? Okay. Or a false sense of self. Okay. Triggers. Wait a minute. Okay. Shawnette, you said not good. So you believe triggers are not good? Amber said, triggers are an emotional state that tend to make us vulnerable. Yes, boundaries, I would love to have a session on too. Yeah, and expectations. If we talked more, yeah. Because triggers can also trigger things you haven't healed from yet. What's up, darling? Oh, okay. Jason, hello, Jason. Triggers are the worms on the hooks waiting for the fish to bite. He just can't control himself. The fisherman is in control. Okay. I have to live with my brother. That's a bummer. Is that a trigger? Is that a bad thing? Kev says. All right. So, oops, shoot. I'm going to read my first initial thing. A trigger can be a memory, a word, a smell, a picture, a person's actions, our own actions, even a pet or an animal. It can be anything that triggers or invokes an emotion within you, usually an overwhelming emotion that can cause panic and anxiety, sadness, anger. And these triggers it triggers a memory that has an emotional attachment. And it can be a happy trigger as well. We just don't notice the happy triggers because it's happy. We notice the sad ones or the anxiety-filled ones or the panic ones because there's fear behind it. There's an emotion attached to it, to an experience that we have had that we have not addressed or healed or found a different perception, whatever. Something that we have not dealt with that's within. All right. So why do we get triggered? We get triggered because we haven't dealt with the issue or whatever is triggering us at the time. Hold on. Hey, Amy. Go back. Triggers can bring on anxiety. Yep, PTSD. Many things can be a trigger. Anything can be a trigger. And everybody is unique. Yep. Smells, chords, touch. Yep, I just read that. No, they are not. Okay, let's talk about, let me move on. I want to, this is about identifying them. Okay, triggers are actually our own body's way of helping us find the root issue to heal it. They're actually a good thing. The only time we think they're bad is because we don't realize what it's connected to. So we don't know, or we are in denial and we refuse to see it, or we're not ready. We're not ready. Yep. It triggers the fight or flight or freeze reaction. Happiness can cause triggers as well. Yes, anything can cause a trigger, and we have triggers for our happy memories as well as our sad. Hey, Lucy. Even narcissistic PTSD is also very real. Oh, it is real. It is, yeah. Sorry, what? Sorry, happiness can cause a trigger within certain people also. Yes. Hi, Crystal. They can bring. I've had a seizure caused by my PTSD. Yes, PTSD, whatever. Yeah, I have. I used to have seizures all the time because I had epilepsy, but anxiety and my panic and certain situations, yeah, have triggered my seizures. I don't like to label anything good or bad. You know that. It just is. The human construct is many things. But that's another segment. It is an indication of unhealed trauma. Is it always? Because if it can trigger, if you can have a trigger for a happy memory, a smell that brings you back, that's a trigger. Okay, let me see here. We get triggered usually because we've kept stuffing things and ignoring them, and they accumulate, and that's when triggers are happening a lot, and we're having anxiety because it's like a volcano. Things that triggers can cause, or no, how to identify triggers. Triggers can portray themselves in many, many ways, such as chronic pain, seizures, sleep disorders, abuse to self, others, anger outbursts, sadness, depression, anxiety, panic, relationship issues, grief, your heart pounding, nauseousness, nervousness, sweaty palms, dizziness. Okay. Amy said, I don't. Where'd it go? I don't use the word trigger for nostalgic, happy moments. Okay. Kez said, some triggers, like some I don't, some I hate, some I get frustrated with, but it's all about healing. It doesn't happen overnight, but it will. Right? Reba, hey Reba, how are you? So some of the things that can trigger an intense emotion are challenged beliefs, rejection, feeling unwanted, feeling unheard, feeling unloved, feeling smothered or too needed, social engagements, our thoughts, isolation. I only wrote down a few. So what kind of situations can be some triggers? Spending the whole day cleaning your house because the kids are at school and you have time and you've done extra things for your family, and they come home and throw their muddy shoes on the floor and their stuff everywhere and run to their video games or their TV, and nobody notices a thing. That can be a trigger. Family get-togethers, holidays. What else could be triggers? When the kids start fighting, yeah. Noise, yeah. Banging or constantly knocking, that would probably be noise, yeah. But, well, mine are the months of October through December due to PTSD. Okay. And my hands are cold. So what are some of the things that we do to help ourselves get through triggers? Crowds, yep, social situations can be one, yeah. If somebody looks at you, what do you think when somebody looks at you? How does that make you feel? Oh, that was a therapist's words, if I ever heard one. You feel like they're judging you in some way or somehow, but I know it's mainly in your head. I bet it's in your heart. Feel the emotions. Sit with the trigger and what it brings to your mind. Forgive it, yeah, acknowledge it, yes, and validate it because it's real. Yeah, forgive it and ask it to leave or release it. Yeah. I got that in there too. Yep, you can journal it. Yeah, that's a little bit later in my article. You can send Reiki to it. Yes, visit it again in meditation. Good, good, good. Yeah. But I just push through it and breathe, and amazing tools my tribe have given me that help. Awesome. Oh, hi, Patricia. Right, we can only do as much as we know to do. And until we have the tools that work for us, because we're unique, not everything's going to work the same for everybody. But hopefully tonight that this show will change that. We'll give you some more tools to help deal with triggers and other stuff, hopefully. All right. Now this is what I do. Okay, I'm just going to say my experience with my triggers. I feel the feeling. I stop. First of all, I don't go any further, and I feel what I'm feeling. I ask that feeling, when was the last time I felt this feeling? And it'll tell me. It'll come to my head. It'll come up with that scenario to what triggered that memory. Okay? And then I ask it, when was the first time that I've ever felt this emotion? And usually it brings me back to my childhood, a memory of my childhood, when I first felt that emotion. And then I acknowledge that emotion for its existence, because it had every right. I had every right to feel that way at that time. I acknowledged its presence. I validated it, and I met with it, or I showed up unconditional. No judgments. And usually that trauma will, or that emotion will release itself. I don't, need to do anything special to release it. It will just go away. Once it's validated and acknowledged and it feels known, like it, it has purpose or had purpose. Then it's not needed. broken more out of my comfort zone because of you and my tribe. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kez. Thank you. Amber, I think the question should be, how do you or we cope with a trigger? One that makes is depressed or scared or victorious or angry, filled with rage, then identify a healthy way to cope with it, along with a healthy way to release it. Yeah? I wasn't quite done with the process, but yep. Thank you. I rock. Because sometimes I was going to mention on this, rage and anger and outbursts, I used to have those, and I still can. I was telling somebody the other day about how I used to act when I'd see somebody bullying a child or somebody, and quite opposite of how I act now, thank goodness, but I would give them a dose of their own medicine. I'd give them something to cry about. And I did that quite a bit. I wasn't afraid of anything. And, it wasn't solving anything. It wasn't helping anything. That's a huge thing for people with, yes, is rage and anger, yes. And go right off their head, right, because you're acting before you think, before you even realize what you're doing sometimes, yeah? And you are all different because we are all unique, yes. Yep. So, I have always said anything that I say here is because we're all unique. I'm the first one to, nobody is the same as another. And what works for me isn't going to work for you. It might, take it, tweak it, and make it your own. Always, with anything I say. So does boundaries fall into this? Boundaries will help you minimize some triggers, I would suppose. That depends on how you execute the boundary. I'm glad you're here too, Kez. So I think everybody should have a healthy boundaries, not only with others, but with self. I know that when I first was learning to set healthy boundaries, there's a big difference between boundaries and healthy boundaries. I had no clue that I had to set some for myself. Why would I need a boundary? You know what I mean? Oops. What's going on here? My computer's out of control. Major irritability. My hubby has PTSD, and the VA hospital told me once in the ER, boundaries are amazing. They are, and they're much needed. But I needed self boundaries as well, because when you show up, and if you can't even keep your own boundaries that you're setting for other people, why should they? You know what I mean? You're showing them that you don't think you're worth your boundaries. It's a kind of like do as I say, not as I do type thing, It doesn't quite work. You got to follow your own boundaries that you want everybody else to follow, so that you lead by example, if that makes any sense. It's hell not only for the person, but for our families and friends. It can be, yes. You know, when I was becoming a recovery specialist, they told me that, you know, because we all write a elevator speech. If you're stuck in an elevator for 5 minutes with somebody and you want to explain to them how you became a peer recovery specialist or about yourself, how would you do it in 5 minutes? So a very short speech. But they were saying that our children and our parents, our family members, but mostly, you know, I heard children because that was the most important thing to me, but need to write an elevator speech as well because they are in recovery right along with you. They are recovering from your addiction. And that goes for your trauma. That goes for everything. Yep. Our children recover from our traumas and our behaviors caused by trauma. I mean, you know, oh, I was going to say a joke, but it's not really a joke. It's actually really serious. You know how people say kids are so resilient? Every time I'd hear somebody say that, I'd say, really? If that was actually the truth of the matter, why do we have so many fucked up adults? Why? Because kids aren't really that resilient. Just because they lived through the trauma doesn't make them all that resilient. It makes them messed up adults with trauma. I'm doing me more than I used to. Yep, self-care. Taking breaks and relaxing. I have my goals and things set in motion. Awesome. I also putting priorities in motion as well. Good. Yes, that's awesome, Amanda. That's a wonderful exercise. It is. It is. I agree. I was so shell-shocked by that statement that my kids were in recovery from my addiction. I mean, that, out of all of the experience in its entirety, that moment right there was the deal breaker. It was the thing that, you know, I remember the most. And that it cracked my heart, I tell you that much. I was in tears immediately. Because, you know, in an addict's mind, we aren't hurting nobody but ourselves. And we really don't care enough about ourselves to care if we're hurting ourselves. But that's not the reality of it. You know? Not fucked up adults. What? Not fucked up adults? I've never met an adult that wasn't messed up in one way or another. We all got something to work on. Amber. Children can bounce back and thrive in the proper environment. Resiliency is typically in regards to the fact that only 2% of the population are a product of their environment. Only 2% of people are a product of their environment? Is that a true scientific fact? I go for walks in the morning. It helps you. Yes, yes. Walking is amazing. We do. We do. What? Kaz, this isn't that show, okay? Patricia says, there certainly are a lot of screwed up people in this generation. Oh, okay, before us or whenever, to abuse kids and cause trauma. Right, but why do you think they're doing that? Because they were abused and they have trauma. Only 2% scientific Sound fact. Wow. Because I would say it was more like 92%. I'm going to write that down too. I'm going to look that up. That's amazing to me. Only 2% of humans are a product of their environment. So what are they if they're not a product of their environment? That is so interesting. I don't say it anymore, but I used to. I used to say it all the time until I learned something new. But I used to say we're all a product of our trauma. Our actions are reactions to our trauma that was felt years ago. Well, F them. What about breaking the cycle? Well, this is about triggers and how we can help ourselves get through our triggers. I didn't even type it. I'm like, what the hell was watching you after I sent about my walking? What? Okay, hold on. Amber said, exactly. My mother is a baby boomer. She was abusive. Her mother was abusive. I literally avoid that because of my childhood. So right. You counteracted it. Yeah. You broke the cycle by not being abusive, right? Oh, I have a band of archangels here today. I'm telling you, I have been going nuts. I have a whole bunch of them, are higher vibrational beings anyway. So, what the F is BC a school teacher or a yard duty at a school counselor or a parent for a friend, patient become pivotal in a child's life? Okay, how did we get on giving them, okay, direction they need to keep that bright light shining within them. Okay, let me read the whole thing again so I can try it. I know you have, when I was talking to Patricia, what did I say to you today, Patricia? I said I felt some sort of way when people tell me that they're sorry they haven't started my course yet. And I feel like I hate to be the excuse or the reason that they're putting more guilt on their minds and their hearts. I don't want to be that. That was a trigger. That isn't because of anything other than my trauma. That was a trigger. If I felt any sort of way from anything that anybody said to me, then that is a trigger. It caused an emotional response. Something that simple. Okay. Why are you so pissed? We're not here to get angry. We're here to find solutions for each individual person. We're not here to save humanity as a whole today. We're working on us. And if this is what's going to happen, then I'm going to stop. Because this is not the outcome I want to happen here today. I do not want to invoke and, triggers to where people are pissed off. That is not my goal, and I won't partake in it. Typos, okay. I don't want that to happen here, okay? It's in regards to a kid not being a product of their environment. Okay. Kids sometimes have other pivotal people in their lives. most of the time. Kids have other pivotal people, yes, like teachers, uncles, grandmas, yard duties, crossing guards, school bus people. Yep. Hey, stop. Okay. That pivotal adult can help that child shine, yes, and overcome their neglective or permissive parent per se. Right. Do we realize that everybody's perception is their own? Everybody's truth is their own? That nobody can have the same perception as I do for the same topic? You know what I mean? What I feel is neglectful isn't going to be what anybody else feels is neglectful. I mean, some of us will share some of those, but not exactly. Not exactly. We are talking about how we cope and how to heal triggers. Yes. Well, Patricia, did she leave already? Thank you, Amanda. I didn't want her to leave, but I don't want her to be here and be pissed off about something that we're not addressing today. I don't want to, yeah. I wanted to help, not piss people off. But, all right. I didn't even get to the tree root system, Amber. I didn't even get that far. So here are some things that could help you during a moment of going through it or feeling a trigger as well. Amber mentioned journaling. Okay. Remember to give yourself space and time to keep an open mind, to try to be as non-judgmental on self as possible. Okay, not outside of you, just self. Communicate, share your experience, tell somebody. Be mindful, bring yourself to the moment, right here, right now, can help. Identify and make note of the toxic behavior or patterns that trigger you. Journaling is an amazing tool. And nurture yourself. A lot of people will get mad at themselves because they got mad. That makes no sense to me at all. And I've done it. I do it. I get mad at myself for getting mad, but logically that makes no sense. That's just going on another hamster wheel. Wait, my bad? I'm being quiet? Next time, why? Wait, what do you mean you're bad? What are you taking on that doesn't belong to you, Amber? You think you triggered Patricia because you mentioned children? You didn't do anything wrong. Kez is right. You didn't do anything wrong. You were just saying a point of view, and you were helping me with facts from science and everything. I used to let others' views of things get to me. Now I'm standing in my power and doing what is best for myself. That's awesome. That's awesome. Amber, I have gotten disappointed with myself, yep, for letting my temper get the best of me. Yep, yep. It happens. I do it too. But the one thing that I try to live by, and I remind myself all the time, no, absolutely no, shoulda, woulda, couldas, because you cannot change it. The only thing you can do is move forward and learn from it. So no shoulda, woulda, couldas come. They're not allowed. That's my boundaries for self. Yeah. They just don't work in my world. They want to, but I won't let them. Yeah. I have a lot of little mottos. Like take it, tweak it, make it your own, because you're unique. You're unique. Yep, you're a one of a kind, a beautiful person. And yeah, no shoulda, woulda, couldas. Kes could probably tell you more than I can, because I say them on the fly. We got 9 people. Okay, let me see. Definitely self-forgiveness is a huge, huge, huge part of healing. And we carry such burdens that had nothing to do with us, but we carry them. We feel at fault for other people's trauma, other people's actions, other people's loss, you name it. Yeah. And we keep piling it on and piling it on, and then after a while we break. We're exhausted carrying that heavy load. It wasn't meant to be that way. It wasn't meant to be that way. So how many people have felt they've been on a hamster wheel with their trauma? They've spent all night talking to a friend and venting and healing and visiting the inner child and integrating the shadow, and it's been 8 hours, and my God, at the end of that 8 hours, you're just like, wow, I feel so good. I feel light. I feel like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. I am amazing. I feel amazing. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, that same trauma comes up, and you're like, what? How about 5 times? 5 to 10 times it's came back and bit you. And you're like, this can't be. Why does this trauma keep coming up? I'm going to tell you why. Me, but I'm doing better. And the wheel is getting easier to get off of, yeah. That's okay, Amanda. That's okay. You missed the juiciest parts, though. I used to feel that way, like nothing was ever going my way, right? Yeah. Until I started my healing and spiritual journey. Right. When we feel that way, that's a victim mentality. That's thinking of things like in a victim type of way. Isn't it the most awesome feeling? Oh my God. I told somebody today, I said, it's like getting high for the first time, and then you can never find it again. It is a bad analogy, and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put that on the video too. But it is. It is the most amazing feeling. But when it comes back, it's like you're doubly let down. You know, you thought you had something licked. It's in your past, you can move forward, and then all of a sudden you're triggered, and there it is again. Because like a beautiful tree, okay, the tree of life, you know, all those leaves and branches, those are all the traumas and our experiences and everything that we show, that we're proud of. We bloom, we're beautiful. But underneath that tree, under the ground, is many, many roots, just like this tree, many branches, many roots, just as many. And we don't show those. Those are the hidden things. And sometimes it's subconscious, true. Yeah, sometimes we don't even know. And that's why I said at the beginning, it's very hard to pinpoint some trauma. And that kind of falls over in the PTSD category, which this is connected to, but not exactly. We think we are victims when we aren't. Right. Well, we've been taught. That program is so ingrained. Even when you realize you're not, you can still feel that way. Because to get our mind on board with our heart and vice versa is a whole nother show, a whole nother topic. Because we can know things logically, but our heart is saying, no, that ain't right. It ain't working for me. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But this tree, those hidden roots, one root. Oh, hey, shoot, where's the... I just thought of something. Hang on a sec. Where did I put them? Oh, no. Oh, they're right here. All right. I was making something yesterday, so I'm going to use them in my analogy. Because I like visuals. I'm a visual learner. Oh, shoot, I was supposed to keep it under an hour. That is a really hard task for me, actually. All right, so here's the ground. Here's the beautiful tree. Here's all the roots. Sometimes there's more roots than there are branches. And for each experience and trauma and emotion that is connected, there's an equal amount down here, okay, in these roots. And if we visit the big root, this part right here, the trunk of the root, and we heal some trauma, and it feels so good because we've been carrying that shit forever, and now it's gone. And you're like, whew, I feel like I can breathe again. But we didn't get to the very root, the root tip of the trauma. There's so much, this is your trauma, but there's so many different elements within that trauma that we sometimes don't even realize. Sometimes we can't. We block it because we are unable to face it. What happened to me yesterday? I let go of a lot of things. I've been letting go of a lot of things too lately. Oh, it's only been 52 minutes because I was late. Thank you. That's awesome. Not too bad. No, it's not too bad. Usually it's 3 or 4 hours later when, Meena stops talking, because I like to say a lot of stuff. But that's why that comes back. Because there's just so many elements. And honestly, if we were to, just like if we were to know everything in one instant, we'd explode. If we were to heal everything in one instant, I think the same thing would happen. We wouldn't know what to do. We would be in such shock because we couldn't comprehend it all. You know what I mean? I gotta clean the house again. Amanda Yost. Oh, yeah, that's a forever process, just like enlightenment, growth, and learning. All right. So, but these little offshoot roots are not the same trauma. They are connected to, and they are elements of, but they are their own by right. And I know it's logically you can know this, and it might feel differently, but keep reminding yourself that this is just a whole new trauma, and it needs to be validated as such, and healed, so that you don't feel like you're always on a hamster wheel. Does that make sense? I know it. I'm like an onion. I asked somebody the other day, I was like, so, do we get stinkier as we peel away layers? Or do we start to smell better? I can assure you, housework is one of those things that will show its ugly face daily, no matter what. Yes, yes. I clean up after myself as I go, now that I don't have kids. Anybody with children is exempt from any kind of house cleaning in my book. Yep. And just so you know, all those roots are just as beautiful as that tree that we show. All right, let me move on. I'm not going to dwell on that. The hidden aspects of those traumas. Got that? And here's the biggest reason why we deal with trauma all the time, and it keeps coming back, is because it is so hard to be vulnerable, to be honest with self, to accept a new perspective sometimes. And it's hard. One of my biggest pet peeves was people who would say, just release it. Just release it, Oh, yeah. You know what it is now, so just release it. It's like, how? What do you mean? What does that even mean? How do you release something that is so ingrained in you, and no other way? One of my biggest pet peeves. And I found myself doing it, just saying, acknowledge it and release it. But nobody's telling you that that's the whole process of releasing, is knowing what it is, validating it, acknowledging it, showing up without judgment, and validating that emotion and feeling it is how you release it. That is one of the ways to release it. So, it's going to be, we're all unique, so it'll be different for everybody, but that is the main aspects of it. You may do that through journaling, I wish I could talk, or, playing video games. Who knows? Going for walks. Family time on Friday is awesome. Wait a minute, I missed something. Amber, it will be there tomorrow. The mess? Yeah, I tell people that all the time. It ain't going nowhere. Same with your worries and stress. And, the things you worry about, set that shit down. Set it down, take a break from it. Because once you get that restoration, that mental restoration away from that worry, you'll be able to deal with it a lot better. And it won't seem so heavy. And it'll still be there. It isn't going to go away. It'll be there. It'll wait for you. Just chilling. That's right. That's right. Chill with your kids, yeah. Because the mess will be chilling right where it is. It'll wait for you. Hey, Annie, my champ. Yep. So many of you beautiful, beautiful people. I just absolutely love you guys. You guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I wish Patricia wouldn't have left, but I'll talk to her and we'll get her on the next one. She'll be on the next one. Yeah. So let's see. Let me see if I've forgotten anything. Well, I did. I climbed over a bunch, but all right. Yep, that's about it. Hold on. Like a blooming onion. We have to peel it back layer by layer. Tesla healed himself and ascended in 6 hours. Yes, it can be done in less. He was open as he went down the rabbit hole. I love that. Makes your blood cry. Well, you know that I used to say, there's so many sayings. Laughter is the best medicine. Honestly, crying is the best medicine. It trumps laughter, and believe me, I know because I do both, usually every day. That's in my perspective. Yep, you gotta let it flow in order to let it go. Let it flow to let it go. You're washing your body. You're washing it away by crying. Water is amazing on all levels, but tears included. Sorry to leave. Guys, I'll catch up the rest on replay because I got lunch. Okay, have fun. That's awesome, Kez. I love it. Have a good time. Be safe. So there's another one of my mottos. You gotta let it go, or let it flow to let it go. Yeah. And you gotta feel it. I can't remember what it is now. I'll write them all down. I have so many little things. It's so funny. And so many I just joke around with and say on the fly. I don't remember them either. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to work with me and I can help you integrate your shadow, child work, whatever, I'm here. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amber. Amber, you and I are going to have to collaborate on something, I think. Oh, I do want to tell everybody that next Thursday, I'm going to do probably bi-weekly, so every other Thursday, I'm going to start a new segment of people telling their story, their ascension story, their spiritual enlightenment story, their life story. Yep. Because those stories are what helps people heal and to feel less alone, and they're very vital. And you can change your story. You can change it. You can trade that thing in for a new model. And it's okay. But it's not always that easy. But it can be done. All right. So that'll be next Thursday. And my special guest is going to be Deborah Rawls. Yep. She'll be the one. going first, but we've already done it once on my podcast, but it didn't work out very well. This is my comeback story. Awesome. Yep. I have all you guys on the list. You know that. Even if I haven't asked you yet, your name's on the list. Anybody in my vibe tribe is on my list. Because your stories are amazing. I love you guys. All right. Have a good night, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Yep, I'm going to do it every other week.